All right. It is Wednesday, April 20th. Oh, it's 420, isn't it?
It is 420.
Wow. Interesting. Well, anyway, welcome to Conscious Radio Network. This is the weekly live roundtable talks. Today, we are joined again with, I like to call sacred medicine woman, Cat Rambo. How are you doing this evening?
I'm awesome. Thank you for the glowing introduction. It's good to be back again. I love Conscious Radio Network, what you guys are doing, and you look sharp as always.
Thank you. Thank you. It's more the background.
It looks stellar. I like it a lot. It looks good.
I got to get more shirts. I got to get more radio shirts and more on-air shirts. When I started this show, it was just audio, so now people get to see me. So I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I think it's a great thing. I like to see you.
Right on. Yeah, that seems to be a fad now. Everybody, all these podcasts that are out there now, it's all video. People like we're visual beings, and we want to see what we're listening to.
It's true.
So
we all crave that human connection more than ever now, and we have the tech to do it. We should, right?
Yep. And the lockdown is what I think that's what brought Zoom and all these other networks out there into the open and more popular. So yeah. So let's see, where are we today? So I noticed you just recently did a music fest, a shamanic music fest.
Yeah,
Where was that?
Cool. So it was a music festival, but it was themed to bring shamanic traditions into the modern context. And so we had healers giving presentations like yours truly. We also had musicians rocking out, but all of it was themed towards positive vibes. It's family oriented. And the entire structure was organized sort of like a ceremony. So we activated elements throughout the day. We opened the circle. We did a ritual at the end together of like activating what you wanted in your life and letting go of the past. And so there's fire pits and art installations. It was cool. It was really cool. I really loved it. We had a good time.
Yeah. It was kind of like was it like a Lollapalooza type thing? It was you had the outdoor stage, you had
yes, that's right. We had lots of tents because it was pretty hot. And of course all the vendors selling lots of cool stuff, between everything from herbs to jewelry, a lot of it very spiritual themed, leather craft stuff like this, flutes and handmade flutes. And then we had the healer tents, and then we had the musicians had their own tents with their merchandise and points of contact and all that. It was a lot of fun. Now, it was nice, even though it was hot. It was rainy the day prior and rainy the day after, and very hot the day of. But it was fun. It was a really good time. Yeah, we liked it, and there were lots of tents for people to sit under, and big canopies, and food and drinks, and all the stuff that a festival should have.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now, is this the first year they've had it, or is this going to be a yearly?
Yes, it is. This was our freshman year, our inaugural year. It will be an annual event, or it is an annual event, Urban Shaman Music Fest. Nice. It was a really good time. If you look it up online, you'll find it. It's all over my social media too, because of the sharing that happened as a result. It was cool though. One of the organizers had literally just come back from the Grammys like days before we went live. So there was a lot of community effort from everyone in making sure everything was built to fit what it is that we were trying to do. And the space is beautiful. Isle of Valhalla event space out in Chiliota. It was really nice. It's pretty up there. Yeah, it was a good time.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah, it was the only non-music act in a music festival.
Really?
We did like element activations and stuff like this throughout the day. So it also had this like ceremonial vibe. But I gave a presentation. I told the DJ, I'm like, hey, you want to like throw some beats behind what we're doing here? Because that would be cool at a festival. He was awesome. Everybody was really cool to work with. I loved it. And I gave a presentation on the shamanic tradition of working with smoke. It's all very dramatic. I got a cast iron pan as a giant incense holder, so I can have huge blooms going the whole time. And I told the story of the White Buffalo Calf woman. I brought my ceremony pipe, and I shared how to do a ceremony together, a sacred tobacco ceremony, like with the ceremony pipe, but without needing a pipe, making it modern, right? Bringing it into the modern context. It was so much fun.
Wow. And these bring in local bands too. Like, I mean, is this like specific, the music that it's specific to shamanic practitioners that create their own music?
Some of it was. some of it was like frame drum and what's that fine saucer looking thing, like a hand pan, you know what I mean?
Oh,
You know what I'm
I
talking
like
about?
kind of like the pan drum. It's like a
Yeah,
metal
like
drum type.
this. And there was a guy playing a didgeridoo and like some awesome like tribal themed music. But there was also like rock music, and Mecca is a rock star, so she played her new metal album release,
Oh,
a song,
nice.
metal song, you know. So it was just a variety of stuff, you know. Some of it, it opened with singing bowls and ended with metal. So it was like
Yeah.
basically a lot of stuff in between. Like
Yeah.
cool. Some of it was more like rock. A popular band around Florida named Jupiter Groove. They do like rock music. It was great. We had a lot of fun. So
Cool.
it was about, you know, making it more casual. It wasn't so stuffy like spirituality. It was also like, let's have a music festival and have fun.
Yeah. 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 Let's get back out in the wilderness and out in the
Yeah,
open.
that was a great time.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to do it again next year. They're going to be doing another related event, I think also under the Urban Shaman Music Fest brand.
Yeah.
That's going to have a similar idea to it later on in the year. I'm not exactly sure about all the details on that, but we're working on it.
Yeah. Cool.
That's a lot of fun.
So what are you up to? What's new? What's new in your box of goodies?
Well, to promote the music festival, we ended up doing a live FM radio broadcast for 2 hours from the Rollins radio station. That was so fun, dude. I loved it. I had a great time. You would have been into it. You like radio and all that. And
Oh
so that
yeah.
was really cool to be live on air, talking about that, but also just about shamanism and what that means now. And actually, the music festival gave me a really good perspective also, because I have my ideas, obviously, but when you're inside something, it's hard to look at what's happening not from your own perspective, you know? So for me, what a shaman is a healer practitioner who travels other dimensions,
Yeah.
trance state, to bring healing, information, wisdom, whatever, back into this dimension. So I'm noticing a lot of people using the word shaman and shamanism, and I didn't really understand it, because that's not what that is. But I have come to realize that the way this word is being defined now
Mm.
is they're talking about the earth elemental spirituality that existed in shamanic cultures, right? So what I'm thinking, what I came into this thing, a shaman is a healer practitioner who travels in and out of dimensions. Now they're using that word to describe anyone who subscribes to that type of spirituality, whether or not they do this healing work. It is anyone who's involved in this like pre-pagan, like, it's a cultural spiritual tradition that was all over the world, everywhere, through all of time. Every culture at some point touched in it, and
Yeah.
other religions and spirituality sprang up out of that eventually. But it was definitely cool for me to see how that's evolving, because I talked to you a lot about the neo-shamanism is what I'm calling it,
Yeah.
what that practice is becoming. So it was cool for me to see what that looks like, in a social setting, watching people interact, and what that means for, a music festival and other such modern contrivances. So that was cool. It was really nice. I met a lot of really cool people, which is great, and got to explore a little bit what shamanism is growing to mean now in our modern culture. It can
Yeah.
be anyone subscribed to that, earth elemental spirituality, without being the healer practitioner that the title shaman was originally supposed to designate. I don't know, it was very interesting to me. I really enjoyed that. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Because
got to
I
teach a
mean,
little
like,
bit. I love
yeah,
that.
like within a decade, like I'd say, like let's say a decade ago, at least within the last 10 years ago,
Mhm.
um, when someone said shaman, it was very individual. It was very like if you were, I want to seek a shaman, and it's like, oh wow, all right, well, we're gonna have to drive to like Kansas or in the middle of the desert, and get with the Navajo Indian tribe, and seek the elder of the tribe, and then sit down. It was hard to. It was something that was hard to find that type of practitioner or a shaman. Now it seems like you're saying the definition is
Right.
the practitioners out there.
Mhm.
Shaman is becoming more
Right.
widely
Yeah.
used.
The word shaman seems now to apply to anyone subscribed to that type of spirituality more so than just the practitioners who were the healers inside of that context. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Right. So a shaman is a priest. You know what I mean? But now shaman can mean anyone who's invested in that type of spiritual tradition, which it's very interesting to me, you know. But then what are the words? What word do we have for those priests now? You know what I mean? So I'm not really sure where this is going. You know what I mean? But no one ever really does know where anything's going. That's how life works. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very interesting to sort of sort that out in my own mind, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, as far as your work in ayahuasca, is there anything you want to share? Is there any upcoming retreats that you guys are putting together?
Yes, since we're still in Florida, of course, yes. And so we have an ayahuasca retreat coming up. We also have something else coming up, and it is 420. So let's talk about it. It's something that I started in Mexico. Marijuana was federally legalized in Mexico some months ago now. So when it was, and it was kind of not really an issue before that either, you know, but you know, you didn't want to infringe on the cartel's business, but other than that, not a lot of people really cared, you know.
Yeah.
But it was officially federally legalized, so I started producing a clarity ceremony, which instead of doing this like long protracted weekend retreat, it was just an evening, you know, which was really cool. And it was 3 medicines, cannabis, right? And I was teaching how to smoke cannabis for clarity, for insight, for spirituality, like how to really appreciate it as a sacred medicine.
Yeah.
I think that now that it's more available, that's something that really needs to be shared. I think there are a lot of misconceptions about cannabis, what it's for, what it can do, what it's capable of, what it can help us do. And it is a beautiful sacred medicine that can really help us open that gate to our own inner world, can help us connect with our own unconscious mind, can help us connect with our own creativity. Insight, intuition, psychic skills. Like there's so much that's, you can open portals with this medicine. It's beautiful. And so I really am enjoying sharing that. So this ceremony teaches that. It teaches the shamanic way of working with what we would call Santa Maria, right? Santa Maria Juana, right?
Yeah.
Santa Maria. So that, which is fun because then you can take home that skill and apply it in your life. You know, it's not just something for shamans now, it's something you can do, which I think is great. And we also use hape, which is a type of snuff. You're familiar with that. It's a tobacco product.
Yeah.
And then sananga, which is an eye drops that is related potentially to ibogaine. It's very intense, very spicy. Did you do sananga with us?
No, not the eye drops. I did not. No.
I love it though.
I
So.
definitely missed. I think I missed out. Well, I know I missed out on that one because I asked Annie. I was like, it was on the second night. I was like, did I get to do this or that? And she's like, no, you were out. I'm like, yeah, Mother Ayahuasca definitely had some work on me.
Yeah, you missed out on the hape the first night. You were definitely in Netherland, that's for sure.
Yeah, but the first night I got the sinus. What's that called again?
Hape.
Hape. Yeah, I did have that. That was wow.
Or rape. You can say it hape, some say it rape, but when you spell it and read it in English, it doesn't look good, that word. So we use hape with an H instead of an R. Yeah, so these ceremonies are these 3 medicines. You can choose any or all of them or none of them. You can choose at the moment. You don't have to choose, you know, a week prior, nothing. There's no dieta. You come in, you have a good time, you relax, you go on a shamanic journey, you learn about how that is for yourself. You can replicate that at home. I love them. It's like church, you know, go have a spiritual experience. My participants in Mexico were having full transformation, cleansings and experiences, spiritual experiences, aha moments. It was amazing, revelations. So we're going to replicate that process. And the maestra will now be joining me. So we're going to be doing together. It's going to be amazing. So she'll be doing her channeled shamanic blessings and prayers, and that'll be so much fun. And so we'll be doing a few of those. I think the next one's in 3 weeks on a Saturday in Orlando. So that's going to be a really good time. And the cool part is we're doing it with legal cannabis. Get that.
Nice.
We're going to do it with Delta 8, which is legal still. So in the state, so completely. So we're going to use that. And so everything going on is above board, you know, which is nice.
Yeah. Cool. Now, for those who are listening and watching and stuff, and those who want to participate in any future retreats, what is about the safe number, maximum, minimum number of these retreats participants?
With ayahuasca ceremonies, we cap at 20. We almost never have that many in a group, actually. They usually range between 4 to 12.
Yeah.
Sometimes they go a little bit more than that, but never more. We do that on purpose because we like to work one-on-one with everyone. And the programs are not about the medicines, they're about transforming your life. So, well, as you know, there's a lot of prep, there's a lot of one-on-one work, there's a lot of integration after that's one-on-one as well. So we really focus on that. The medicine is the tool, not the point. So, you know, you can go to any ceremony and just like pop in for the night, drink tea, and then bounce out in the morning, but we don't work that way.
Right.
We want it to actually change your life. And it's a powerful experience. And our culture doesn't really have a context for vision questing. So we like to do a lot of teaching to make sure that one, the experience is actually powerfully transformative, and can really make a difference in your life, you know, and also so that you have an amazing experience in the first place, because we're not really equipped with the tools that these cultures had in their psyche and in their life ways. We don't really have those. So we're going to be expanding on that. The clarity ceremonies, like I said, are an afternoon. We also have coaching packages that we pair with that, and combo and other extras if someone wants that. But it's a cool way to have like a gentle introduction to shamanism, to get to explore sacred medicines, to learn about some ancient traditions, to see how we can modernize them. And hi, dog. And get to enjoy that together. And those, I think the max group size I've done before is probably 20, but we can definitely do a bigger group with that. But again, with the Hatha and Sananga, I like a lot of one-on-one, so they're usually small groups.
Yeah. I'm definitely interested in the Cambo again. That was amazing.
Yes. I love Kambo. I feel it. I could feel it the other day. I kept thinking, you know, I'm feeling it. I feel it. I want it near, you know. I don't know, I was in the space for it. I felt the calling. And then all of a sudden a bunch of people started messaging me, hey, are you open for Kambo? when it speaks, you know. That's cool.
Now, for some of the listeners and viewers out there, I mentioned Cambo a couple times and stuff like that. Can you recap on what that is?
Always, my friend, with pleasure.
But I recommend it for those who, I wouldn't say not everybody can take it. So if we can kind of explain, you know, what it's good for, and what you know, I guess the people that maybe have a second guess on it.
And then I will, but only if after you share your experience, because you had a beautiful experience.
Yeah, my experience was I wasn't expecting it. I'm going, okay, and you offered it, so it was the evening. I think, what was it, 3? I forgot what time we got there, but it was in the afternoon, early afternoon. And the first group of, I guess, 3 or 4 people had already had the Cambo applied to them.
Yeah, those I do in really small groups.
Yeah. Max. Applied to the arm. And they had already gotten it, and I wasn't expecting, you know, what was going on. It was quiet. I was trying to find my place in the room, found my yoga mat, which was going to be my footprint and my campground for the rest of the weekend. And so the other 3 or 4, I guess it was 3 people, one at a time. And then the first one was purging quite heavily. And then the next one, I saw them starting. And then the third one, they started purging. I'm going, oh man, what did I get myself into? I'm like, oh man, I didn't even drink it. I'm not even drinking alcohol, and I got to go through this.
For you, there was a choice.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, well, it's a good thing. That's what was going through my mind. And so they're purging, and then I'm like, all right, the bottles of water, drinking a bunch of water, fill up the stomach with water. I think I get down to my 3rd bottle. Yeah, I'm halfway down to my 3rd bottle. And you started applying it, and it felt like a sauna. As soon as the first application, it was like, it just felt like the room just went from 75 to 110 in like that.
Yeah, you feel it. You don't have to wonder, like, is it working? Is it not working? When am I going to feel it? Now you know. You know.
Yeah.
and fast.
And then the second, and then the third, and then the fourth, and then I started feeling my stomach rumbling, and I'm like, I don't know. And it wasn't that I was trying to hold it in. I didn't vomit from the Cambo, but what happens afterwards, I'll get to that. But but you said by the time you got to the sixth one, I looked up really quick and like I saw something and I passed out and lost consciousness. What you said, about a couple minutes?
Yeah, and I was there with you. I was checking on you. You were not in
Yeah.
any danger during that situation, but yeah, you definitely went to La La Land on that one.
And into a couple little wrist seizures and stuff like that because of my
You're having tremors, which can happen. It can activate the central nervous system, which is a beautiful thing to witness. That's when I called you out. I said, "You spend a lot of time on a computer, don't you?" I'm like,
Yep.
yeah.
A lot of typing at work.
You were doing this like raptor thing.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It was your hands trying to like heal their nerves.
Yeah. Then I was out, and then when I came to, it felt peaceful. It just felt really just
Yeah, you were glowing.
it's like,
But you were also seeing things. So you see spirits anyway, but you were very aware of that afterwards, which was really cool.
Yeah. I saw a lot of stuff, not just after that, but for the entire weekend.
Yes, you did.
But yeah, as far as the purging, I didn't vomit, but it was a lot of bowel, a lot of, well, obviously water, but I
Well,
knew
you can
all the
officially say you were no longer full of shit.
Yeah, it was all gone.
Love it.
And I can say I knew there were toxins. I knew this was something because I fasted for the whole day, just a very small breakfast.
And
And
you came in a little bit wan anyway. You'd been eating watermelon for 3 days or something. I don't know.
Yeah, must have.
Are you with me? Oh no, what's going on? I hope we pop online. No one notices.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I just, yeah, even to this day, it just feels like I got rid of some evil spirits,
For sure.
physical, everything.
Gumbo is very detoxifying. It's really what it's for. But that's, it's a spirit medicine. It's mind, body, emotion, spirit, all of it. And it definitely detoxes not just the body, but the energetic field, the aura, all of that, which is great. I love it. It's very empowering. If you can do Gumbo, you can do anything. So it's usually gone to turn to for physical detox and things like lymphoma, actually, and other types of tumors and cancers. It is introduced in the lymph system, so that's why you can feel it move around your whole body so fast. That's our body's natural way of detoxing anyway, part of the system that's involved with that. So there's it's pretty amazing to give that one a little boost, right? It's good for your immune system. It's good for your digestive system. It's good for anything that has to do with your body secretions, right? Which sounds weird, but it's the secretion from a frog in the Amazon. It's the slime on the armpits of a tree frog. So it is poison, and it is intense. And the tension is not necessarily to purge, though. That is almost always part of the process, especially with me. Everyone practices a little differently. For me, it is very much an emotional and spiritual process as well. So when I do give Kambo, it is also a very emotional and spiritual process for those receiving. And I've had participants with me who have taken Kambo many times from other healers and have a very different experience with me. And I think, all practitioners have their own way, and that one's just my way. Everyone's way is different,
Yeah.
So I love it personally. I'm a very powerful believer in it. It's still legal, so that's a good sign. Though it's very helpful, so I'm sure they'll try and change that.
Yeah.
Science is currently trying to extract any of the over 200 known peptides to help with anti-cancer and all kinds of other things that they're good with. It helps instigate the body's natural autophagy process. So what that means is we all have heard of what free radicals are. So when cells break apart and die, which they do anyway, that's part of life's process, right? All the organelles and stuff just sort of like floats around, membranes and things, just like loose trash, and our blood will filter it out eventually. What Cambo does is it instigates that process quickly.
Wow.
So it gives you that heat, it gives you a fever. So it does all the things that a fever does, which is help detox your system, help reduce inflammation, help deal with pain. It's powerful for anti-inflammation. It helps flush everything out of your system. It destroys damaged tissues that can't withstand the heat, which include bacterium and fungal spores and other types of diseases like viruses. It can also flush things out like that. So a lot of people have been coming to it recently for COVID and for help healing from COVID. And for actually, I don't know if that is supposed to be said on the air or not, but people who have received the vaccine who didn't want to receive the vaccine, they had to for work or whatever other reason, and then decided it did make them feel good. So they will come to see if they can flush out some of the vaccine's compounds.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Even though Cambo, and as a disclaimer, even though Cambo hasn't been proven to be able to alleviate.
It's a natural medicine. No natural medicine can be labeled as a drug.
Yeah.
Or can be called a drug at all. Can be called a medicine. Just drugs, not love it or hate it. You're right. Not everyone should take it. People who have heart conditions, it makes your heart race, and so that's not safe. People who have like a friend of mine had a cancer in his stomach near where that valve is, and because that little valve is part of the body's like bile production process, the system, that's dangerous. Can't give that to him. There are reasons that you can't give it to somebody. Anyone on stimulants at all is a big no-no because it makes you way too racy. Other than that, I insist on some people taking it before coming into ceremony because of substance issues, because it's a powerful detox and it will help you detox quickly. And that includes substances, which is great because it's better to be clear of that before moving into life, but also ayahuasca.
Yeah. And I wouldn't know what it would have been like with the ayahuasca experience, not taking it, but I can imagine.
It does intensify everything because the ayahuasca doesn't have to work so hard detoxing your body. It can go straight to your head and your heart, which is great. I made a couple of videos about it on my YouTube channel. If you look it up, Cat Rambo, Medicine Woman. If you look up Cat Rambo, you get actual cats.
I did that before the show.
Yeah, but if you type in Cat Rambo, Medicine Woman, the whole thing, then you'll get it. And it won't be like Stallone cat.
Right on.
That's fun too.
I did that just before the show. I was like, oh wait, I gotta look up something really quick. And I went on and I went to Cat Rambo, and I'm like, a bunch of cats, and this cat and a cat wearing
with like a Bowie knife in its mouth, very camo.
I'm like, no, not that one.
It's awesome. If you look me up, you can always reach me at my website too, cat-rambo, cat with a C, cat-rambo.com. That has a contact form on there, which goes to my email, so you can reach me there, and all my socials on there too, the TikTok, the Instagram, the YouTube, not Instagram, the Facebook group. I've been doing lives every week in the Facebook group, dude. It's been so fun. I love that. I put a theme up and then everyone votes on the theme, and not a lot of voting was happening. I put right in for the last one and no one voted on put anything. So I'm like, all right, fine. We're going to talk about what I want to talk about. So we talked all about like how to turn difficult situations in life into a wonderful learning experience and to accelerate the growth process that way. That way. So I've been loving that because all kinds of questions and cool people from around the world are in that group, like having this conversation about all kinds of random stuff. It's just been a lot of fun.
A lot of the engagement. That's what I'm trying to do too. It's like I'm trying to engage the audience and engage the subscribers and
well, I make those lives like live coaching. So someone they'll know in advance what the topic is and know to bring a question. And this last one actually was a lot of engagement, a lot of questions, a lot of personal stories. It was really cool to see everyone sort of growing and learning and inspiring each other, which is the best thing any facilitator can do. I'm a ceremonial leader. So if I can encourage others to show up for themselves and each other, like that's amazing. It makes me so happy. I love seeing that. It's very inspiring, which is great. It makes like a little community.
So let's see. We got the music fest. Oh, we did talk about a possible book that you were going to be writing.
Yeah, well, the book's on pause. I'm slowing down a little bit. I am focusing on the class. I told you about a class coming up. I
Yeah.
moved to the Dreamwork class. It's going to be 4 weeks, and it starts the 12th of May. They're 3 weeks from now, 3 weeks. I'm very excited to do another one of these programs. I love it. And I was going to do the Methods and Magic class, which is a 13-week program that's all about developing your own practice from, I bring in everything, paganism, shamanism, voodoo, like all of it. You develop your own practice.
Yeah.
It's about finding your own tradition and your own unique magic and in your own practice, which I think is great and very empowering. But I kept getting asked for another Dreamwork program, and I personally absolutely love that subject. So I said yes. I'm
Awesome.
finishing up making the workbook now, and so all that's going to be up there on the Facebook group and website and everything too. I'm really excited about that. So it's going to go through this whole flow of 4 weeks. It's designed to take you through a journey with skills, right? So you're going to be learning how to cultivate a more profound connection with your own subconscious mind. It's not just about interpreting dreams; it's about opening psychic skills, and deepening that intuition and really connecting with. We'll go into lucid dreaming, astral projection. I'm going to teach how to do these things. It's going to be so much fun. Normally, I would like this program to be 6 weeks, but I'm going to see if I can do it in 4. So sessions are going to be once a week, like an hour and a half each one. And I say an hour and a half, but I always go over time because I just
Oh
love
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I love
That
lots of
type of
questions.
yeah. With that type of content,
Oh, yeah.
you always go.
And it's a workshop, bring your dreams. Let's do it together. Okay.
Yeah.
What about last week's homework? Did you do that? Did it really help you? Did you have more dreams? Did you remember them? Were you able to go back into your dream and ask a question? Really cool stuff. So I like that it's over time so that we have time to practice the skills, and it's something we're doing anyway. We presumably go to sleep. And even people who think they don't dream, they do. We do dream.
Oh
It's
yeah.
very, very rare. We do dream. We just don't remember them. In our culture, we don't appreciate them. That's what we're talking about culture context and vision questing. We can access our own ability to enter visionary states and altered states of consciousness and do it just by getting intentional about something we're already doing anyway. It's not like you got to sit there for 4 hours in some weird meditation practice listening to some clicking frequency. You just go to sleep and just do it better, So it's super fun. I'm really, really excited. I cannot wait. I'm stoked. There's going to be like a little workbook and everything. So it's going to be awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm super stoked. So that's going to be in like 3 weeks. I'm excited
That's
about
kind
that.
of like how I've been doing my meditations. I haven't been doing it, often enough, but I was like, let me do it before I go to bed. Do it either or when I lay down. As soon as I lay down, I kind of, take a couple deep breaths and just boom, and just have a particular affirmation that I concentrate on, and then moving. And then by that time, I'm out.
A lot of us have trouble sleeping because our mind is racing, but we make the mistake of laying down and waiting to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Like that space between consciousness and becoming unconscious is so valuable. There's so much available to us there to cultivate our own sense of healing and growth, also to have an awesome time, also to hack your own identity and personality. That's what's in your subconscious, is your identity and your beliefs. What if you could just speak directly to that? You could change yourself into who you want to be faster, more efficiently, easier, more fun. All of that is available in that liminal gateway, that gateway between.
And it's not a very long time. Normally they say it's anywhere between 3 to 14 minutes.
Well, yeah, in the class, I'll break it down a lot more because you actually have several phases that if you stretch it out, especially if you're talking about like astral projection or other types of out-of-body experiences, where you can leverage that gateway period. And there are different phases in each of those processes. And whether you choose to have an out-of-body experience or whether you choose just to dream more clearly, or have medicine dreams where they heal, you can actually learn to hover in that space. So that space that normally you just you're awake and then you're asleep and that's it. And there's a flow of process. We can stretch it out and break it into stages and slow it down a little bit and really use that space. It's very fun. And it's socially acceptable, right? With a lot of healing methods, you don't make a lot of fast friends talking about it, and at a party. But with dreaming, you can start interpreting someone else's dreams, and it's all of a sudden you're very dreamy and interesting, and it's very deep and insightful right away while still being lighthearted. And I have found it to be such a wonderful part of my life, and I'm really excited to share it. And I love the outcome of the students that come out of these programs, they just take it and they run with it. And my job is to empower others to do it for themselves and each other, so it's just so much fun. And some of them become Dreamwork clients. I have a lot of clients now that are just Dreamwork coaching clients. It's so fun. I love it. It's so deep. It gets to the core of our issues. We can sit here and talk about how we feel all day long, but when we can get into our identity and address the subconscious mind in the language that it speaks in symbolism, that richness is exciting and fun, but also so powerful and so cool,
Yeah.
And then that's visionary states, that's how do you choose to enter a shamanic journey or a vision quest? No medicines, no psychedelics, you know what I mean? No substances, and just close your eyes and you know what to do. And it's amazing.
And I've heard over the course of probably the last month or so, a lot of people have been asking me about dream work, asking me about, oh, I need to know about my dreams.
Send it my way. I love it.
Dreams, but all of a sudden now I'm starting to remember something or a particular symbol or a particular event happening in my dream. And it's like, well, it means something. And they're like, what does it mean? What does it mean? I was like, so this would be a perfect opportunity. If you're listening and you want to know.
Right. No more Google. You can do it for yourself. I will teach you a shortcut method to squeeze all types of meaning out of your dreams, and then also use that work to really leverage your own mind in a new way. It's very cool. I'm very excited, obviously, as you can tell. I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm very excited. And I'm never offering this program for this cheap again. I will stretch it back out to the full 6 weeks, and it will be probably 4 or 5 times more expensive. I'm going to do it really cheap because I just really feel deeply called right now to share this. Yeah. And that's how I feel to do it, but I will never do that again because it's a lot of energy for me as well, and a lot of knowledge. And
so for those who are going to be listening later or watching now, where do they go again if they are interested in the Dreamwork program?
Thank you. Cat-Rambo.com. CAT- and then Rambo, like the Stallone movie, RAMBO.com. And you'll see all kinds of stuff there. Probably the easiest way is just to send me a message on the bottom of the page, contact form. It goes right into my email and I see it, and I'll just talk to you, and you can see all my social there. So if you get involved in the Facebook group, if that's, a community that you're interested in, looking for a tribe and learning more, I teach everything there from like NLP to medicines, everything in between, herbalism to dreams to hypnosis, all of it. Then I'll be making announcements all over those groups and stuff too. So it'll be out there. It should be published this week. I'm very excited. Yes. Very excited. Thank you very much. Cat-Rambo.com. Cat-Rambo.com.
Cat-Rambo.com.
That's right. Yay. And you have my links too. So whoever's on your podcast will be able to see them, which is cool. Yep. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for sharing.
Yep. And yeah, since you were on the show before, you can all go to the link below on the YouTube page here or the channel. It'll show something like to learn more about this guest. It'll take you to all of our guests who've been on the show, and then they got all the links to.
And you do have such really cool guests on the show. I always feel very happy to be here with you, and knowing the type of caliber of content you curate here. It's nice. It's awesome. Feels good.
You're very welcome. I'm looking for extraterrestrial stuff now, like UFO.
Oh man, so you need to talk to Annie.
Yes.
Yeah. She'll channel some ETs for you. You can talk directly to them. Yeah, I would love to have her come on here. That would be a lot of fun. I had fun with her doing the radio thing too. That was cool. The Rollins radio. We had really good. She's so good. She's such a good speaker. She's you obviously
Yeah. I want to do a podcast too. I'm researching on the big show, and I want to touch base on the missing persons that end up happening so often in all these national parks, but especially here in the United States, but all over the world. People just disappear, gone, no remnants. I mean, they've had their, took their stuff with them and stuff like that, but they'll find either nothing that they've left that they took with them, or they'll find something, but nothing. Nope. Lost without a trace. So there's been some theories that hey, they just went to go see the mothership and they left the planet. So
all right, I'm in. Let's do it.
Exactly.
I'll see the gallery.
Do it.
I like it. Let's do it. Yeah, you should definitely have Annie on for that. She loves that kind of stuff. She actually used to be terrified of it.
Can you still hear me?
Are you with me? Yeah.
There we go.
Exciting. Yeah, she actually used to be terrified of the whole ET thing, but now she's super into it after some cool experiences of her own. I'll let her tell you those stories.
Oh, wow.
Very cool.
Yeah, my you can still hear me, right?
I can, yeah, but the good news is the page frame that you're on is a cute one. I had like a good look on your face. Yeah. You know when you freeze the TV or something?
That's the rest of this. Yeah. I hate when the camera does that. Oh, man.
Well, you know, there's all kinds of like solar storms and stuff going on. I'm surprised we've managed to have such a stable connection as we have. A lot of tech issues. There's blackouts in other parts of the world. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I've heard stories about that. You know, people saying, yeah, our system, we don't even have internet, or we don't have that.
Across Asia, there's like whole swaths of darkness right now.
Yeah. Right now I'm trying to change the camera again. This one's on my laptop, but for some reason it's not doing it. Doing something weird. Okay, now
well, at least you're in motion now.
Back to the other webcam.
I love all the vines and stuff in your set.
Oh, it took me a while to come up with some.
It looks great. You look sort of like you're in a I don't know, like an abandoned ruins or something, like an archaeological site. You have this like stone brick and then these plants overgrowing. I love it.
Yeah. I'd like to do the whole back wall like that. That way it kind of gives it like a temple of doom or something.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. You know, we had a lot of fun exploring the archaeological sites when we were in the Yucatan area near Tulum. We would go to the big sites, and then I always like to get a tour guide. I want to know everything, right? So I would hire a tour guide. And poor Annie's like, why do you always need a tour guide? Because they know everything. and down there, especially at the big sites, they're all like state educated for their site. Like they know their shit. Plus, these Mayans like grew up there on these sites, so they have their traditional wisdom too to share. And then my favorite thing to do at the end is to ask them about a local site where tourists don't go. So we ended up in the jungle, some sketchy places, having the most amazing time, living out my Laura Croft fantasies. Right, it kind of reminds me of your backdrop right now.
Yeah, and I've got this really dying connection of Egypt or the Mayan temples and stuff like that. And I always wanted to do like
pyramid cultures.
Just do like a faux temple.
I would love that.
Throughout the entire room.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah. Not for pain.
You've inspired me. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, not back in September, back in 1 September. It was 2020. Yeah, 2020. Yeah, in 2020, I was getting ready to take a trip that September to Chichen Itza and go see the cenotes and the ruins and stuff like that. It's like, oh man, and then the whole COVID thing happened.
Bugger. Well, the sites are open for business again, which is great. Some parts not. On the actual Tulum structure, you can't walk down to the beach from the site anymore. But for the most part, you can pretty much go wherever you want. I love Mexico. I can't wait to go back. I'm surprised I'm still in the U.S. right now. Like I said, we're going to be doing a few ceremonies, and then we'll probably head back home. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. You have to come visit. It's so much fun. And they have around us, as is apparently also what is around Sonora, is vortices. We call them focotonal. And they're whether or not you're very sensitive to energy, it does not matter. You can feel it and you can hear it. So you stand in like this triangle drawn on the ground in an open air space, and you're like, okay, like there are people passing out and making these sounds and whatever. And then there's some people who are standing there like, okay, cool. And then they tell you to speak And when you speak, you hear it echo back like you're in a really small glass shower or like glass tube. It's crazy. It's amazing. It's so cool. And everyone feels something or hears something, and it's really interesting anomaly. So there's a lot of cool energy around that
Kind of
area.
similar. Sounds similar to some of the people expressing what they experienced when they walk into a crop circle.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Love it. Yeah, we also have a circle pyramid near us, which is very unusual. They're usually made with straight edges. This one is circular. Lots of cool stuff going on. But that area is also famous for ET energy. So you would like to come and visit if that's how I can tempt you. There's all these stories about people, the star people going in and out of the big lake that's there. And their ships like going in and out of the lake. And actually, I've seen some weird shit down there.
Now this is where?
This is in Ajijic.
Ah, okay.
Chihuahua area. Yeah, it's really pretty. It's beautiful anyway. It's just safe and nice and pretty and lovely. And then there's all this weird ET stuff going on. It was a sacred site pre-Columbian and still is, and it's got the energy of one. You can just feel it. A lot of people come there. A lot of spiritual people go there, and they don't know why they're there. They just end up there, and they just know they had to be there. It just has that type of weird energy to it. Even people who are not very sensitive to energies will still know that somehow. It's cool. It's cool. You'd like it, and you'll see some stuff, man. I used to, my last casita had a balcony overlooking the side of the mountain. It was really beautiful. And we would see some things that were not airplanes, like at all, not at all. I would call them creepy stars and then promptly go back inside. Because then you stare at them and then I would start to feel really weird about it. I don't know, like just feel like trippy and kind of strange. So I'm like, all right, I'm just not seeing anything. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, you see it moving in weird directions, and then it looks like it's coming towards you, and you're like, oh, okay, gotta get out of here.
And it's like, I know what an iridium flare looks like. I know what satellites look like. I know what planes look. I've flown planes. Like I know what that looks like. That's not that. That's just not that. It's quite something.
Have you ever dove the cenotes?
So when we were there, we swam in so many of them, and I didn't dive a single one of them, and I would love to. As you might imagine, of course, Annie, her first response to that is, oh my God, how could you do that? You might die. That's terrifying. And I'm like, yeah, it'll be great. Let's do it. There was one in particular I would love to dive. It's very creepy. It was basically, you walk up and there's like this little hole in the ground, and the hole can't be 5 feet across.
Yeah.
And there's this long spiral staircase down into this like cave, and in the bottom of it there's water, and down there they built this like little structure so you could stand on it and then hop into water, and it's creepy. There's bats, it's cool. I'm all into it. I think it's great. It just feels the sacrifices. You can just tell they were in there. It's a heavy energy that's in there. It's really interesting and creepy, and it's black. You can't see below the rocks. These cenotes are all connected by caves, by these underwater cave systems, so who knows what's in there? I don't know. So this one in particular had a pyramid in the water.
Whoa.
Like underneath in the cenote, and I really would love to go dive that. It was also near a site that is not very touristy. Mexicans visit there, Mayans hang out there. The guy who was showing us around, his Spanish wasn't really that good, but he was, because he was just a Mayan dude, he spoke Mayan. So that was really cool, and he brought us out into the jungle to this pyramid of the 4 serpents or something like this, and they were the guardians and keepers of time. So it was a pyramid dedicated to the gateway of time and opening portals to next dimension, like really cool shit. And all of it's undeveloped because they haven't had the money to dig it up yet. So it's just out there in the jungle being chipped away slowly by periodically interested people who go and like to dig up pyramids, like I do. And these little Mayan dudes just like living there, like, hey, you want to go see a pyramid? I'm like, yeah, that's what I came here for. Cool, come here. And it's like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna come out of this jungle, but I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be great. I would love to dive that one. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I saw a couple of them. There was one that was actually quite huge. I think the thing, I don't know, enormous. Yeah. Crystal blue. Part of the, some of the bottom was like crystal blue, kind of like the springs here in Florida, like Ginny Springs and stuff like that. I'm like, oh yes. Yeah.
That is amazing. I would love to go dive them. Hey, I feel like I hear a trip coming on. Maybe the Conscious Radio Network needs to go on the road and visit Mexico. If you want to learn more about ETs, man, come hang out. You'll see them. I've had some weird experiences there. And you got this thing in your head, right? So I keep telling myself like, oh, I'm an evolved person. So if I see aliens, I'll like invite them for tea. That would be great. And we'll talk. It'll be fun. So I woke up one time in the night one of these suspicious star nights, right? And it wasn't like I might have been dreaming. I'm very conscientious of my dreaming. It wasn't a dream, right? I'm usually aware that I'm dreaming in my dreams. This was not a dream. I woke up and I saw them there to my left on against the side of the room, and I was like paralyzed in what I can only describe as like very gentle horror and panic. And I just started praying my ass off. I'm like, I know I said there would be tea, and I'm sorry, but I just can't handle it. I don't know why. I thought I was cool. I just realized I'm not as cool as I thought I was. I'm just not as cool as I thought I was. Can we go back to like the subtle messages and the dreams, because I can't hang like that. I promise. I literally the next day though, I got up, I made tea, and I put it out on the patio for at night. And Annie's looking at me like, why are you leaving tea on the patio? I said, just don't ask me any questions about it. And so I told her about it, and she goes, yeah, okay, leave tea. Promised tea. Like, no, I promised tea and there was no tea. And said there was horror. Like there was something about this, like something primal that like that shouldn't be or something. I don't know. It was very interesting. So I thought it was really cool, and then I found out I'm not that cool. There was no tea. But I mean, that actually those types of experiences are really common in that area. And I didn't know that when we got there. And then I started having them, and I started expressing them to other people. You know, I work as a healer. I can basically say what I want these days, and people already assume I'm weirdo, so that's fine. And then perfectly sound human beings that you would never expect to entertain such a thing will answer back and say, oh yeah, you know, when that happened to me, it was like this. And it just happens a lot down there, which is really cool.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'd trade them. I'd trade, you know, do like the Santa Claus and cookie type thing. I'd trade them for like a bottle of Romulan ale or something from Star Trek.
I would totally do a bottle of Romulan ale. That would be amazing.
Right?
Well, it turns
Is there
out
Romulan ale? Please bring some. I'd like to try it.
more terrifying experience than you might believe. But it was cool, you know, and it happened a few times. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna stay calm. Everything's gonna be cool. Thank you for the messages. I appreciate the love. Everything here is a vision of unconditional love. I will leave you tea tomorrow. I promise.
Yeah, that might be something that Conscious Radio Network could advertise. Be like, yeah, we're gonna plan a trip to Mexico and do some ancient alien type stuff and
I
some
love it.
CE5.
Well, you know, he's from Chile, and down there they're really open about that. Like when the US and the UK started releasing some heavily redacted documents about their alien files, whatever. That can you hear that background noise? No. Okay, good. As long as you can't hear it, it's fine. Started reduce. The kids have the TV on in the other room. The president of Chile came out and said, I don't know why you guys are making a big deal about this, because we just talk about it all the time. They actually have a government website where everyone from the military, if their Air Force has pictures or videos, they submit them there. Everyone from the government, they submit stuff there. And then the people, they'll submit stuff there for review. So their question is not, are there aliens? And what do we do if there are? Their question is, where are they today?
Yeah.
You know, and who sees what? And how can we learn more together? And they share all this information. And there's like an alien recent ET sighting here, here, and here, you know, and, you know, Uni's on the left, and, you know, so you know, it's definitely a different kind of culture. But I know that if I were coming from outer space, I would go to the Atacama Desert as well. It is one of the most, maybe actually the most uninhabited place on Earth, and the entirety underneath the sand is lithium. That's what we put in our batteries.
Oof,
you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's where I would probably land if I were doing this one.
Yeah.
Totally uninhabited and made of batteries. Great. That's what I mean.
There's that area too in Mexico too. The that area of the desert. It's actually close to our border. It's the Zona de Silencio, the Zone of Silence, which is a lot of weird stuff happens there. Lots of just strange phenomenon happens.
That's right. Mexican deserts tend to have strange phenomenon anyway. I mean, the bufo toad comes from Mexican desert, you know, also the Sonora region, you know, in the US as well.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful, just very sketchy and weird, which I like that.
Exactly.
let's take a Conscious Radio Network tour of the ET hotspots. That'll be fun.
Yes. And then like similar to was it the Skinwalker Ranch? Have you ever been there? That's I'm
Walker Ranch, where is that like
crap, I forgot what state that's in. Montana? Idaho? I don't know. I should know, but I don't.
Is that like a sanctuary for Wendigos?
Skinwalkers, ghosts, demons, aliens, all kinds of
Well, like
really
South Louisiana.
crazy stuff. I mean, yeah, it's it's the hot spot of really, really crazy stuff.
I like weird stuff.
Yeah. I'd rather, I'll choose Mexico because,
Well, then the food's really good also.
yeah, I definitely like.
The weather is beautiful.
Yeah.
The currency exchange is great. Does your coffee cup have a microphone on it? Is that what that is?
Got a microphone. Oh,
I like it.
got,
It's Conscious Radio Network, Reverend Dr. Paul G. Michaels, the superstar, your host.
that was a Christmas gift.
Lovely. I like it. Very stylish, looking very sharp.
So I try to make sure I either bring it to all my my events or keep it on the air. That way I can have the microphone and drink it too.
Well, better that you don't speak into this one and try and drink it. Right?
Yep.
So what else has been going on for you, man? And tell me what's up. You know, what you been up to?
So yeah, I'll be doing the Podfest. Be going to the Podfest next month, May.
That's really exciting.
26th, 27th, 28th, 29th. It's a 4-day thing, but I'm not going to go all. Going to go Friday evening and Saturday all day. See what I can network and what I can help evolve this station into the best conscious radio network. Right now, it's just getting more guests on the show, getting another variety. Like I'm saying, I'm looking for the ancient alien type stuff, the alien in general. I would do more conspiracies, and I've got some people who'd like to be on the air, but my channel would probably get kicked off with some of the guests that want to be on the show.
Oh yeah, that good.
Especially through YouTube, yeah. So I did start a BitChute channel. So if I do have any shows that are conspiracy related, I'll probably have them uploaded to there. So
got it. I like it.
yeah. So
that's awesome.
Let's see what else.
I've been thinking about starting a podcast for a really long time, like years. But honestly, I would rather just show up on yours periodically. And let you do all the work.
There you go. Yeah. I'm the producer.
I think what you're doing is great. I love it. And I would rather just share what you're doing.
Yeah. You never know. Maybe I'll end up doing so many of these shows and then, the subscription gets so high, like millions of viewers and stuff like that. I don't even need to be on the show. People just be like, we'll pay to talk.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
That's basically what I did at the music festival. It's what I did on the FM radio thing. It's what I do on your thing. Like I just want to talk to people. But I love teaching so much. I feel like there's so much knowledge and wisdom. But in the old ways, a healer, they wouldn't teach. They would do their thing. And even now, the Icaros are their magic songs. Of the Shipibo tradition, where Ayahuasca is very popular, and it's one of the tribes where it's considered most authentic. So the healers there, the shamans, will actually sing their Icaros under their breath, so that you don't hear them, so you can't copy their magic songs. Like, wow, like in my perspective, I feel like the more we know, the more we can all grow, right?
Yeah.
And my voracious obsession with learning as much as possible gets no one else anywhere. And if I can just share and give and teach as much as possible, then we all get to benefit from my legwork. You know what I mean? And from my wild life experiences. And I feel like what you're doing here with the radio show does that. It shares a lot of information that would normally be a lot harder to find and synthesize and bring together, but you bring together such interesting people. I love that.
Yeah, a little bit of a show and tell. I got this a couple days ago, and it's less than a year old, but probably because it came from Europe. But got my first copy of the Journal of Society for Psychical Research from the UK. And some of the stuff this talks about, it's like, whoa, static dynamic model of religious levitation.
Got it.
Psychology and the paranormal, exploring anomalous experiences. A doctor explores what near-death experiences reveal and about life and beyond. Jaguars of the Dawn, spirit mediumship in the Brazilian Veil, the Maharks, or something like that. Yeah. Reincarnation as a scientific concept, scholarly evidence for past lives. And last but not least, North Carolina ghost lights and legends.
I love that. That's so cool. You know what I just found out?
Huh.
My aunt has a proper university degree in parapsychology.
Really?
I didn't really know that was a thing. And that was from a long time ago too. Like this has been going on a long time, and we still think about it as something strange and weird, but
Yeah.
I teach psychic skills, and the same thing happens every time. It's, wait a minute, did you say psychic skills and teach? It's not a gift, people. We all can do it.
Yeah.
You know, we've been conditioned that it's weird, wrong, bad, crazy. And so we have locked ourselves out of our own birthright to know more. It's like the cheat code for life. It's great. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you want like the hack that can make your whole life better? You know what I mean? And it's fun.
Yeah.
It's easy.
And I've also believed too, years of study and stuff and meditation and stuff, that those that have been in control for a long time don't want us.
Well, of course
The
not.
elites, the cabal,
Then you would
people
know
in
things
control.
that
Yeah,
they
yeah.
didn't want to tell you, and then you would know it anyway, and they don't want that. You
Exactly.
can't control information if you control, if you can't control our natural access to all information.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's great.
And then the conspiracy out there about the conspiracy theory.
Right.
I've looked a lot into it too, which is why I don't have fluoride in my toothpaste anymore. But the sodium fluoride in water and the studies of that have showed that the sodium fluoride that has been used in the water systems and stuff like that does nothing to your teeth, with a lot of the studies and stuff like that. But they've been showing what it does to the body. It calcifies your pineal gland, and you can't get it out. Yeah, I think using was it iodine? Iodine helps secrete it, but it gets trapped in your body, and it kills your pineal gland.
Well, that's one of the reasons that I love so much the clarity ceremony, because all three of those medicines can be used to help just with that. Sananga specifically, and Hape as well, specifically help decalcify the pineal gland. And that's one of the reasons people turn to it the most, because it's no joke, man. It burns. It's not bullshit. But,
Yeah.
Everyone says the same thing to me. That was awful. I would totally do it again because it feels great, afterwards. But it's intense. But that's specifically what it's for. It goes into the eyes and then it opens the third eye, the idea of inner vision. And that's what it's doing in there, is decalcifying that gland, which is fascinating that we have tools at our disposal to help correct, what it is that's been going on,
Yeah.
with all of that.
Yeah. And what's in our food? I mean, look at all the garbage that's been in the food for long.
Yeah, that's the reason I love Mexico. Food's
Yeah.
all organic, natural, fresh. It's great. And you can tell because it rots really quickly, which is the sign that it's really fresh and doesn't have preservatives in it. Bunch of shit.
Yeah. And
I found
not
out
only that,
the
but
beans are
and
illegal.
some of the foods too that should ferment, that you can eat.
Right.
I mean,
Ferment,
sauerkraut and kimchi and stuff like that, but also the study of the type of foods, the fermented foods and stuff like that are good for you.
Right.
I'm trying to get more into that and trying to, maybe ferment my own stuff. And
do carrots. Oh my God, it's so good.
really?
Yes. Yes. So good. I love it. I do carrots with jalapenos.
Yeah. Fermented carrots?
Yes. I know it sounds weird. I shred them.
Oh,
So they
okay.
get that like sauerkraut-like consistency.
Oh, so okay. So it's like
I
sauerkraut.
also really like them pickled. That's also really good.
Yeah. What's your thought about, because I've been hearing some pros and cons about using vinegar, that you shouldn't actually use vinegar because there's something about vinegar that is acidic, that the body acid is not actually good. What you want to do is maintain an alkalinity rather than an acidity.
I live by vinegar.
Yeah.
So yes, It is acidic. However, it is less acidic than your stomach. It actually does alkalize your stomach
Ah,
gently
okay.
because it is still less acidic. I mean, stomach acid is like car battery acid or something.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
intense, you know?
yeah,
I mean, it could probably dissolve car batteries. You know what I mean? We eat a bunch of dumb stuff, and we tear through it all. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I mean, stomach acid is probably could be a weapon of some kind. I don't know,
Mm.
but uh, it is actually vinegar is more alkali than stomach acid, so it does actually alkalize your system. Um, I like alkali water as well, you know, but I do
Yeah.
know people who become very obsessive about any of these things,
Mm.
and you can't just live on alkali water. You know what I mean? Like you need to have variety in your diet, and our bodies are designed to cope with variety. I believe our environment is significantly more acidic than it used to be.
Mm.
Um, but we will evolve with the environment as we always have,
Yeah.
you know, as with anything. And I don't know. I like vinegar. I put it on my skin.
Same
I use
here.
it in my hair.
Yeah, salt
You
and
know, I
vinegar
drink
potato
it.
chips. Wow.
Yeah, it's so good. No, you are not
Yeah,
eating the crap
yeah,
again.
yeah.
But I really don't consume a whole lot of processed things at all, actually. So what I do consume that is processed is actually things that are processed and then naturally fermented, like vinegars, you know, and
Yeah, yeah,
processed products, and occasionally tortilla chips because nachos are very popular around here.
yep,
But we try to get the, you know, organic blue corn, whatever, for whatever it's worth, you know.
yeah. I
And
think
I
I'm
think
gonna
that,
start. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna start making my my own sauerkraut because I was looking at the cost of sauerkraut in the store. It's like, are you
yeah,
kidding me?
delicious. It's ridiculous. And it's
What?
so easy to make, and you can make all different kinds of flavors for yourself. It's great.
Yeah, yeah.
I
It's like
think
almost
it's
$10
important
a
to be
bag.
mindful
Or it's like
about.
what?
I think water is also really important to be more really mindful about. And I used to just drink anything out of the sink, but now
Mm,
I'm a lot more conscientious of that. And that doesn't mean buying fancy water because Anita loves fancy water, but then there's a bunch of plastic bottles. Like that's not better for anybody.
oh
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
So now we're looking at one of those under the sink filters that it's
yeah. I
expensive, but
filter all
actually
my
not more
drinking water.
expensive than the plastic bottles and less hazardous to the environment. I'm a huge advocate of getting away from plastics as much as possible.
Yeah.
And I try as much as possible in my life.
Now I do quite a few years ago. I bought a water distiller, and I only use it. I used to use it to make gallons. It'll hold a gallon. You fill a gallon, and it literally 100%. You put a gallon in it, it'll distill 1 gallon.
Do you drink that distilled water?
And no,
Yeah, I think you should drink
what I
distilled water.
used to do was I would distill it to take all the crap out of it because when you would look at the inside of that container after it's distilled, black soot. It's like that was in your tap water.
Hmm.
And then what I would do is I would remineralize it. I would put the magnesium, potassium, calcium, the salts and stuff like that back into the water.
Well, iodine, we're all missing a
Yep.
little bit of
Yep.
iodine.
And let it sit and stuff. Let it rest for like a day or so and whatnot, and then drink it. I haven't done that in a long time, but I'm thinking about doing that again. So
That sounds great. You know, there's something else too about water that's so special. You know, obviously it's the stuff of life, right? And I
yeah,
think one of the things that we keep thinking about what's in it, but I also often think about how is it? Because we've all seen the Emoto studies now. And if you haven't, then talk to someone and ask them because a lot of people have now, you know, right? He addresses water in a certain type of way and then freezes it and the crystals form a different shape, right? So water traditionally across all traditions, water always represents emotions, and it turns out water is a conduit and a carrier of emotions, right?
yeah,
So how can water be different in its structure simply by the words said to it? And get that water can change its structure simply by the words said to it and the emotional intention that you have when you say it. So I like to pray with my water. I like to just give it gratitude before I drink it, you know. And I think that I'm made of water also, so that translates to my water, you know, in my body. And if the water in my body, and we've actually discovered that there's actually significantly more water in the body than we thought because it's not all in liquid form. Some of it's in plasma states, and that you know, to be hydrated doesn't just mean drinking water. It means consuming those plasma states, like for example, apples.
yeah.
Apples are mostly water, and it's not just the liquid juiciness, it's in a plasma state, right? So when we ingest that, we become more hydrated. So I like to address things that have a lot of water in them, like apples and a glass of water, and just like tell it I love it and that I appreciate it. And then I tell my body the same thing. And I feel like that has a lot to do with health also, because if that's what's carrying all of our minerals around our system, if that's what's keeping us nice and plump, and it's keeping us having skin, and it is affected scientifically
Yeah.
through language and emotion, that we should leverage that. There's only so much we can take in or put out or whatever, but um, take out, put in, whatever. But it's something so simple to just address it with gratitude and with love and appreciation. And I know it sounds like some hippie shit, but I'm gonna tell you, I started doing this and it was great. And I feel good. I feel good about it. My digestion's better. Maybe I just think it is, and that's fine too. But there's speaking of psych studies and parapsychology, there was program I was reading through some information that I think it was our CIA, our Secret Services, had a parapsychology program um, that I think officially began during World War II to spy on what the Nazis were doing using remote viewing. And so they
Oh,
were trying
yeah.
to look at other ways that parapsychology could be weaponized, basically. And they found that just about anyone can affect the composition of water and the oxygen to hydrogen ratio in water, and how the water molecules move around each other, simply with will and intention and
Mm.
affection. So we can all do this. And this is a simple magic that helps us activate our connection to our environment and our willingness to communicate with all aspects of our surroundings and insides as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know, that's a simple practice that, that I've been doing. It's as simple as like taking this class. I'm like, I love you, and it's got little butterflies on it. Isn't that sweet? Aren't you
Yeah.
cute? And
Yeah.
thank you, and I'll drink it. It's not complicated at all. It can
Yeah.
be as complicated or not as you like. If I'm in ceremony and I'm preparing water for ceremony, I will pray. But this, I think that that's something that we could all be a little bit more mindful with, and it would dramatically improve our health, because we are made of water. We
Oh,
are
yeah.
water beings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you brought up the psyops and the psychology, or yeah, the psyop operations,
Mhm.
during World War I, probably I think more in World War II, but
I'm sure it's been going on always, actually.
they yeah, and the government says it has admitted to it. They've admitted that they've had these programs and remote viewing, all these remote viewing programs, and they still use it. They've still admit to using it. But there was a hilarious movie that came out quite a few years ago called Men That Stare at Goats. If you haven't seen it, it's a hilarious movie.
Is it?
But it's a dramedy, I guess is what you would call it. A comedy drama of a group of, I guess it was one of these first groups that they brought in, and of these men that, or these people that had psychic abilities or some weird ability, psychic and some just off the wall type abilities, and they brought them into the government and they did these experiments on them. And I think George Clooney was one of them, played one of the
It
guys
would be.
and stuff. And one of the experiences are they're in a room and they're supposed to stare at a goat to make it fall asleep. And there's this funny scene. There's this funny scene. They're in that. They're one guy's just staring at this goat, and then the goat's like just. Oh, the goat's eyes is just hilarious looking, and the goat's staring him back, and then the goat just falls over. It's hilarious. You got it. If
I'm
you
gonna have
haven't
to
seen
look
a
it up.
movie, you got to watch it. It's funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out. I love that. It blows my mind what we're really capable of. And we think of it as some type of thing for other people, psychic. Is it even real? Of course it is. We all know that it is. We've all had that moment where someone calls us that we were just thinking about. Like, we've all had those experiences. So
Yeah.
we know that it's true. We know that it's real. And to call it crazy is just an excuse not to cultivate it. It's an excuse not to own our own potential and to cheapen the self. And we have this capacity and we don't really learn about it and teach it in schools, and we ought to, because it's also our communication. It's also our mindfulness. And I think that that is not what they would like to teach in schools, to be more mindful and self-aware and compassionate. I don't think that's something
Yeah.
they want to teach, but maybe it is. I don't know. Things are changing. But I think it's I feel, not only is it fun, I enjoy the work, but it's also a responsibility somehow. If we have the capacity to connect with each other and ourselves and we choose not to, it's like knowing how to communicate and still refusing to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we could learn how to do it better, why wouldn't we? And we should. And it's not just for us, it's for our culture. If
I
we
feel,
all, the
yeah,
more
I
connected
feel
to
we
each
all
other,
have
the
the
more
duty.
better culture scape.
Yeah, I feel we all have the duty and we all have the obligation to tap into this and work with it, regardless, whether we're scared or whatnot. I think we all, because it's a disservice to the human race. We're
Yes,
holding
because
back
we're on potential.
evolution.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're supposed to be evolving, but the
Yes.
things that I'm seeing that's happening today, it makes me look at and observe and going, it looks like we're de-evolving.
Yes, but it is sometimes these things that cause us to really reflect. Like, for example, talk about a wake-up call in mindfulness and connection during COVID. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That was a time of sacred reflection for our culture
Yep.
in a
Exactly.
really big way. We had to learn to communicate. We had to realize that we missed each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had to realize that we need each other.
Yeah.
That we were not aware of that before. In our capitalist economy, it was very just self by, not each other and family. And we've revisited that dynamic very powerfully, and I think that's important. And what's happening right now is also showing us what we don't want and what
Yeah.
we will no longer accept, and giving us an opportunity to respond differently now.
Yeah.
And we have an infrastructure now because of what happened during the plague, to be able to think about things differently and see things differently and connect with each other differently. And I think we're evolving in it. And yes, evolving, devolving, but we constantly are. There are a lot of old texts, old thousands of years texts, that discuss psychic skills, ecstatic experiences. The whole Kabbalah is all about I mean, this is a pre-Bible book, you know what I mean? In the Torah, is all about how to achieve an ecstatic spiritual union with God for yourself. We have this in us. We have simultaneously forgotten and now remembered again that we've always already known anyway. And now all we have left is to say yes, to acknowledge it and accept it, and then to enjoy it and to magnify it, and to really be with what's next. Because I mean, our culture is evolving very quickly
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of shift happening, a lot of shakeout happening. All of my clients are going through it, all of them, and some of them are having these ecstatic experiences, and they call me a week later and everything's falling apart, and then they call me a week later and everything's amazing, and they call me a week later and everything's falling apart,
Yeah.
because that's what's happening right now. We're making decisions about who we're going to be next, and as a culture, and we're doing it as individuals.
Yeah.
But it's time to recollectivize a little bit, and not in the way that we should be codependent on our culture, but that we should redefine what our culture should be.
Mm,
And we do that collectively. That's a decision we make. It's not, I think we used to think that we were subject to culture, but now we're starting to learn that we're defining our culture by who we are as individuals, and then in a hive.
yeah.
So we can rewrite the whole story of the hive by choosing who we are as individuals anew. And we're doing that. We're starting to recognize that. And now that we have seen that when necessary, things can change dramatically all across the board, now we know that we can. So we must. We're empowered to change. What we want to see next is what we will create. And we're in a massive space of creation right now. And I'm really excited to see where it takes us in the next few years. I mean, it's obvious to say we've never been in a place like this before, because that's redundant. But
Mm,
um, it's a little asinine, but it is true. This is quite unprecedented, and it's very exciting, and we have options right now. We have options about what our culture scape is going to look like, what will stand for what we won't, and who will be as individuals and who will be as a hive. And our global culture is more interconnected than it's ever been in our recollection. And
yeah.
it's time to really appreciate that. And you can see that it's happening with the resurgence and interest in indigenous lifeways, shamanism. Like, these are traditions not from your backyard. And some of them are, and some of them are not, but it gives us an opportunity to really look at all of it and pick and choose what works for us now. And I love it. I think it's amazing. I,
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. My goal is to bring the old and the new together, the science and the spirit together. It's time now. We've had our sprees and diving into each of whatever is on each opposite sides of each spectrum. It's time to build bridges, and bring all of it together. There's alchemy that's happening, and bringing things that seem disparate into one place, one soup, stirring it all together, and finding out that it tastes great, and it's nourishing, and it's wonderful, and everybody likes it, and this is it. It's because it's in our nature to want that, it's in our nature to want to bring everything together. It's in our nature to want to be together,
Yeah.
and we're social creatures. It's time to own our spirituality in a public way, and be unique to get together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exciting, and to the dogs as well. I
Yeah.
think that's why I'm so obsessed with what I'm doing. It's Dreamwork, for example. I mean, it sounds silly, but um, if we can learn to tap into the true magnitude of our unconscious wisdom, then it gives us an opportunity to connect with each other in a different kind of way, because what matters changes a lot. What we think we know and don't know changes a lot. And how we relate to each other, everything changes, all the important stuff.
Yeah.
It's time, and it's happening. It's amazing to witness. And yes, there are tribulations along the way. Every road has speed bumps. But we will grow or we will not, that is the two choices always.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Heck yeah. No, man, we have too much fun on this. We could do 4-hour shows easily.
Oh yeah. Well, I just like hanging out with you. I forgot to ask what time were we supposed to be on or off? I don't know.
I usually go an hour, but I give it to about an hour and a half max.
Where are we at? Are we at the hour and a half?
An hour and 20.
Well, it's right time then. It's a powerful closing argument. Time for lunch.
But that was a good closing though. I mean, that was like, as far as where we're going, our evolving our consciousness is we can go at this point in time. It seems like we have to go somewhere. We have to go.
Well, there's shit going on. We need to leverage all our resources, and to not do so is why? For fear? It's time to grow up.
We have to become the stewards of this planet, and we have to own up to it. We have to realize that the whole political aspect of clearing up cleaning the planet and stuff like that. Yeah, the stupid stuff that they're going through and whatnot. Yeah, we need to relook at that. But there's other countries out there that are doing it much worse than we are. I mean, we're not the only ones. So we gotta be good stewards of the planet.
Yeah, and I think it's time we stop identifying ourselves with nationality.
Yeah.
In general, but there also needs to be some responsibility. We'll see what that plays out. Like even just the conversation about the space junk. You know what I mean? Like who has to pick up that mess? Well, there's a lot of mess, and who's responsible for what's in the oceans now? Who picks that up? And well, we all do. We all do. It's like you look at your kids and you're like, well, I didn't leave that there. I don't care. Pick it up. It's y'all's.
Exactly.
Put it there. Pick it up. Like someone is going to do it. And the good news is it's happening. There are amazing organizations out there, and a lot of them like kids inventing these amazing contraptions to like pick up the oceans. What's next? Yeah. I'm excited to see what that's going to look like.
Yeah. You see this net going through space, just picking it up. Yeah. Like an episode from Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Traveling some stuff and just throwing it into the sun, let it burn it up.
And then figure out what undesired consequences come from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Amazing. Well, that's the process of growing, right? And we have to. It's inevitable. We can't stick our head under a rock or in the sand. It's got to happen. It's time to own that. It's time to own that things need to happen. It's time to own that we need to take responsibility, and for ourselves and for each other and for this earth and for space junk, for whatever else. And that starts on the individual level, It starts in the family level, it starts with our friend group, being no longer willing to tolerate BS from the people around us so that we can change our culture that way, And I think it's amazing. It's happening. It's happening.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And starting to live, as a human culture rather than cultures.
Yes.
We are one. We are one race. And we have to own that. We are one race. Period.
We're all blended up at this point anyway,
Yeah. It would be boring. It would be boring if it was all the same. I mean, come on.
Mixed. It's genetic superiority.
Yeah.
It is. Yep. Diversity is superiority. It is. Yeah. I say that just a joke, but it is does create, generally speaking, better healthfulness of each specimen. And that'll extend to culture as well as biology. Exactly. Well, I know that it must be time to call off our date.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna see if I can get Annie to come hang with you. She loves you too, and that'll be a really interesting conversation. She's very interesting. She's very interesting.
We definitely want to show with Annie. Yeah.
Well, it's a rare gift to be able to speak to a maestra of ayahuasca.
Yes.
That's not a shaman. That's like the doctorate degree of shamanism. So she's amazing. Talking about psychic skills, that's when you.
Oh yeah.
She's like disturbingly psychic. She's the kind of psychic where you're like, I don't know if I
And
should
that is
date
what
around
we
you.
want on the show. Yes. We want a disturbingly psychic person on the show.
Yeah, it'll be fun. That'll be good, right?
We want to create goosebumps for the watchers, the listeners, and
Yeah. Oh, you could have her do like a live reading and people can call in. That'll be super fun.
yeah.
I want to set her up on some social media too. She's going to start doing in our Facebook group lives and live readings, and she's going to start doing activations where she'll channel healings for a theme every month, and it's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Cool.
It's a matter of getting her to care about social media. We're getting there. Anyway, again, with the same shameless self-promotion, if you want to find me anywhere, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Cat Rambo, Medicine Woman. Also, it all comes and goes on my website, cat-rambo.com.
Yes. Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me here on your Conscious Radio Network.
You are very welcome. And thanks again for being on the show. It's an honor. And yeah, let us know. Like to maybe get back on real quick before you start the Dreamwork program, and bring in some updates.
Ooh, like only if you bring me some dreams to interpret live. How fun would that be? Yeah. Right? Because then I can show you what that process would look like. Okay. In the context of like OJT, you know what I mean? Yeah. All right. That'd be fun. And that's in 3 weeks, right? Yeah, the 12th. 12th. Yes, sir. Correct. That's the 12th. So excited. Maybe what is the 12th? That's a weekend. It's going to be a Thursday. I like to do my classes on weekdays because we like to hang out with our families and go party on weekends, and weekdays seem to be doing better for my current client base. It'll be at like 7 p.m. Eastern Standard, New York time. Maybe Wednesday the 11th. That would be so fun. Yeah. I would love that. Yes, and we can interpret some dreams. Write them down for me, Paul. Yeah. Now, if the phone thing is somewhat working, like I said, it's a little buggy right now. I'll get a call and they can hear, and they can't hear me, but they can hear you, or they can't hear you, but they can hear. It's weird. Or I'll be all garbled. It's like, I don't know what the heck is going on. But we could do the same thing. And like I said, the chat's open. So, right. And the phone number on there, you can like call or text, Yeah. We'll figure it out. We'll work out. And you'll be going to your fancy podcast conference, which means you'll have lots of new toys and knowledge to play with. Yeah. Yeah. And you said that's May 12th you started, right? Yep. 3 weeks. Okay. Oh, you know what? I was just looking around for my phone calendar. I'm on the phone. Wow. Where's my phone? Tell me you've done that, right? Everyone's done that. Yeah. Oh, I've done that with my glasses. I'm looking for my glasses around my head, or I'm wearing them. Yeah, I'm wearing my glasses. I can't find my glasses. They're on your face. What did you see to know that you were looking for them? Yeah. That's awesome. Yep. I love it. Oh man. That was fun. Awesome. Well, I always like to check out on a high note. Thank you so much for having me. You are very welcome. Namaste, my friend. Say hi to Annie for me. And let's set something up for the 11th. And other than that, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for watching Conscious Radio Network. Please don't forget to subscribe. And we will see you next week, next Wednesday. Yay. Let's say thank you, Cat Rambo. Very much. Many blessings. And, blessings. Have a good night.